CNN is now confirming that actor Burt Reynolds has died at the age of 82. Here's a look back at his life.
Burt Reynolds was one of the top box office draws in the 70s and 80s, but the big screen was not where he set out to be. No, the handsome, charismatic Michigan-born actor wanted to be a football star. Reynolds attended Florida State University on a football scholarship, but an injury derailed his athletic career and put him on the path to Hollywood stardom. At first, Reynolds landed roles on television, including shows like Gunsmoke and Flipper. But it was the 1972 film Deliverance that was his breakthrough role.
Who has the ability to survive.
He also became a sex symbol and posed nude in Cosmopolitan magazine. He capitalized on his success in the 1974 sports drama The Longest Yard.
I'm going to fix it, okay?
By 1977, the actor who was known for his signature mustache was riding high with the success of Smokey and the Bandit alongside Sally Field.
What's your handle, son?
The film became a successful franchise for Reynolds. So did the movie Cannonball Run in 1981.
Well, can't you do something? I mean, you're professionals.
This is our day off.
He kept the laughs coming as the sheriff in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, co-starring Dolly Parton. Although his film career slowed down by the late 80s, Reynolds found success on television in the 1990 series Evening Shade. It ran for 4 seasons and earned him an Emmy and a Golden Globe. While his TV career was on a high, his personal life unraveled. He ended his 5-year marriage to actress Lonnie Anderson in 1993 and was involved in a messy custody battle over their adopted son, Quentin. By 1996, Reynolds filed for bankruptcy.
Jack Horner, filmmaker.
But things began to look up for the actor when he landed Paul Thomas Anderson's film, Boogie Nights. The role led to his first Oscar nomination. Though he didn't win, he received critical acclaim in the hockey film Mystery Alaska in 1999.
I don't want to hear another word about a hockey game.
Throughout the 2000s, he kept busy with a number of TV and film roles like The Dukes of Hazzard. In a career that took him from the football field to becoming one of the biggest stars in Hollywood, the legendary actor will be remembered for decades of iconic roles in film and television. Still to many, Burt Reynolds will always be the Bandit.
Michelle Turner, let me turn to you, host of Entertainment Tonight, and you think of Burt Reynolds, the mustache, right? I mean, I remember his role in Boogie Nights, and handsome man.
Yes, very much so. I mean, ruggedly handsome. I think when I remember back, I heard Stephanie talking about him being married to Lonnie Anderson in the late 80s and early 90s. They were kind of our Brad and Angelina at that time. Just seriously, that striking couple, Hollywood's A-list, the top of the heap, so beautiful. And we all looked at them and were kind of aspirational to what we thought relationship goals were, and then they broke up, and subsequently he had some failures. But think about this, Brooke. Back in the 70s, in the late 70s, he was Hollywood's top grossing star for 4 or 5 years running, and he actually had at one point 4 movies playing at the same time in theaters. That's unheard of for an actor in these days. Yeah, absolutely. We all remember Deliverance. It was amazing and one of the best films ever made. He says that it was the best film he was ever in. He wasn't sure, he said, if it was his best acting, but that was the best film that he believes he had ever been in. I was just reading a little bit more about him, and one of the things that I thought was very interesting was not the movies that he did make, but the movies that he didn't make. Apparently, he turned down the role of Han Solo that went to Harrison Ford, so I'm sure Harrison was very grateful for that. And also, he turned down the role in Die Hard that Bruce Willis played as well. And so I'm just thinking about all of these opportunities that he had in Hollywood and all of the memories that he's made. But I think Stephanie said it best when she said, we'll all remember him as the Bandit, won't we?
She did say it best. And do we know, so he was 82. Do we know any more about just what happened?
Just the information we have is that he died in the hospital in Florida, that he went into cardiac arrest, and he was surrounded by his family, and he didn't recover. The information is just now starting to come in, so we just have that brief information. But of course, we're trying to get more.
Gotcha.
At this moment. But yeah, we're really just compiling, and it's hard to compile when you think about all that he's done and all the movies he's done, and then transferring to television, and all that he's done in the years that he's been in Hollywood.
But he's one of those actors, as I'm now glancing down at everything, we go all the way back to Deliverance, right? All the way through. And Stephanie made the point, there was a quiet time for a bit, and then talk about his career, resurgence with Boogie Nights, on into, the last decade or so. I mean, he had staying power.
Yes, absolutely. I think the first time that I really, and I'm going to that because I'm seeing it on the screen right now, he and Dolly Parton in The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. And I remember I was trying to sneak and watch it. I wasn't supposed to watch it. And when I watched it, I fell in love with him. But I think a lot of people of a generation also remember some of the things that he did off of the screen. One of his Cosmopolitan Centerfold. I mean, that at that time was jaw-dropping. It was, a game changer in Hollywood. Sold 1.5 million copies. He says that it was one of the biggest mistakes he ever made because he felt like that it cost Deliverance the recognition that movie deserved. So he looks back on that, even though we look at that as iconic, he looks back on that as a mistake of his. Of course, he did start out as an athlete. We saw that in The Longest Yard, but he started out as a high school football player. He was a running back. He was supposed to go play football at Alabama. And then he moved to Hollywood. And like when you look at him, you talked about his good looks. I mean, he had that mustache, but he had those deep, brooding eyes. He was the quintessential leading man in Hollywood in his day.
Nichelle Turner, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate it. And at age 82, Burt Reynolds is gone.